Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Through the Waves podcast. I'm your host, Emilie Vos. This week's guest was my friend Emilie Vos. Emily and I have been following each other on social media for years, and this was the first time that we got to connect in person to hear so much about her story and all of the hats she wears on a regular basis. Emily is an ideologist, an ear doctor, an influencer, and an entrepreneur. She is the CEO and founder of Miss 305, a clothing brand that she started in Miami during COVID. We talked all things being in your young 20s, balancing school, work, social media, and her personal life. Throughout the past 5 years, Emily has lived in Toronto, Canada, Miami, Florida, and New York City, and it was so interesting to learn about how she's grown and changed and evolved throughout living in those cities the past few years. And of course, we talked all things wellness routines and how she sets herself up daily to show up as the best version of herself. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode, and I think you're going to absolutely love it. So let's get into it. So you came into town for graduation.
Yes.
Happy congratulations.
So excited.
What are you officially graduating from?
So I just finished 8 years of school. I got my Doctor of Audiology degree. So
Oh my gosh, wow.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you so much. So I walk the stage tomorrow.
Woohoo.
Finally.
And you graduated officially from UM?
No, it was Nova Southeastern in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
So it's their College of Healthcare Sciences.
And then you haven't always gone there, right?
So I went there for 4 years, but then for my undergrad, I was in at Western University, which is just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, okay, so now give us the progression, because when we started following each other, you were in Miami.
Yes, that's true. So I was living in Fort Lauderdale the majority of the time when I was doing my degree, my doctorate. And then in my second last year, I did an internship in Miami. So I lived there for 2 months. Okay. So it was through the University of Miami. And yeah, that's when we met. So I did live in Miami before I moved to New York for a couple months.
Yeah, and also I want to say happy birthday, or happy late birthday to Miss 305.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh,
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank
How
you.
did that come about? What was the birth story of Miss 305?
So obviously Miss 305 is my clothing brand. It actually started during COVID. So
wow.
Yeah, I was really tired of just studying, and I didn't really have a social life because everything was kind of shut down. So I kind of wanted to work on a project. So I started designing swimwear. And I always had a dream of launching a swimwear company and just doing bikinis, and I thought, why not in Miami? So I started sketching things out and started working with the manufacturer in Miami, and actually saw different products come to light, and I loved the bikinis I had. And then the restrictions in Florida during COVID were kind of diminishing. So I had a friend come visit me, and she was like, Emily, I'm just gonna pack nothing. I'm gonna bring an empty suitcase. I'm gonna go shopping and find whatever I'm gonna wear when we go out or when we go to restaurants.
Yeah.
And not bring anything. I said, yeah, no problem. I'm sure you'll find something great. So long story short, we go shopping. She doesn't find one thing she likes. There was just nothing that really tailored to her, anything that she'd want to wear out. So I was kind of thinking, well, here I am. I'm going to launch this swim company. Why don't I start a company that not just has swimwear, but that has clothing, that has resort wear, that has, clothes that's tailored to people like my friends, so that when they travel to Miami, they know where to shop. So that's kind of what birthed Miss 305.
No way. That is so cool.
Thank you.
Wow. And then obviously Miss 305 is the area code for Miami.
Exactly.
What was the name process that you went through? Did it just come to you, or what was the process of that?
So at first, my swim was going to be called Spectrum, just because all the different colors of the spectrum.
Oh my, wait,
so
that's so beautiful.
That was originally what I wanted to do. And then when my friend came to visit, and she was like, there's nothing in Miami, there's nothing here for me to wear, I said, well, I need to associate the name with Miami. Why not the area code?
Yeah.
And call it a Miss, because all my girlfriends need clothes to wear when they come travel here.
Wow, Emily, that is such a cool story.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you didn't have a background in fashion, right?
Zero, nothing.
You just started hand sketching these prints, and then you found the manufacturers yourself?
Yeah.
That's so fucking cool.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I feel well, obviously we just met in person for the first time. But we've been Instagram friends for 2 years now?
I think 2 years, even maybe a little more.
Yeah, and it's been so cool to see you grow and see Miss 305 grow, and just
thank you.
the progression of everything.
I appreciate it. That means a lot.
Yeah. And what was like, obviously you've moved around the past couple of years, living in New York and now Canada. What has that like connection brought to Miss 3052 as you've bounced around?
So definitely leaving Miami was a challenge because it was rooted in Miami, and in the clothes were inspired through like the culture, the subcultures of Miami, and seeing the style, being there, living there. But then living in New York, I wasn't seeing what the typical girl wears in Miami anymore. So it was definitely a challenge changing locations, but then it actually brought on a lot of inspiration because people still wear resort wear in New York, and people still need it in New York to go to Miami. So it kind of, created a huge network of people I could talk to, and from other people who also had brands who were living there as well, and kind of pick their brains.
Yeah. Wow. And you also, it's cool because you could kind of see that through like the Instagram feed.
Really? Okay.
Just like how it kind of transformed, kind of like as you've grown as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk. You moved to New York. You lived there for a year.
Lived there for a year, yeah.
What was like, have you ever lived in New York before?
Never. It was my first time.
What was the adjustment from like South Florida to like New York City, which is funny because Tatiana, the guest I just had on last, she's from New York and she moved down here.
No way. Oh, so she had the opposite transition. Interesting. It was definitely probably the craziest transitions I've ever experienced.
Okay.
And I loved it. It was hard at the start because, learning how to take the subway, living in a smaller space, all the constant stimulation and chaos. There's constantly people around. You can't really go to the ocean for a day to kind of decompress or, clear your head. So I think that was the trickiest, was just being in small confined spaces and not really having that sense of fresh air like you would in Florida. But it was definitely a great experience, and I would highly recommend living there if anyone has the opportunity to do that in their 20s, because it definitely has a lot of character.
Wow, yeah. I thought about moving to New York, I guess 2 years ago now.
Really? How come?
I just was I was down here, I just got out of a breakup, and I was like, okay, time for me to make a life change. I'm going to get up. All of my best friends or two of my best friends were going to come with me. I was like, guys, we're going to pack up all of our stuff.
Oh my God.
And we're going to move to New York.
Yeah.
None of us have ever lived in New York. Then when it came to the point of me like actually moving, I was like, wait, I've never grown up around, like, I've always been close to the ocean. Right. I've never lived not close to the ocean. How the heck am I supposed to live there?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now I just go and visit, and I love the city so much. There's so much happening. There's always so much going on, and it's cool because everyone's in their own little world.
It's true. No one cares about you. Like, that's the biggest difference, which I loved, was, everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's independent. Everyone, like, people just dress however they want. They walk on the streets. They don't care. Like, oh, no one's judging you, because people are just their own person, and they're just doing themselves. Whereas I feel like here it's more, it's not as much like that. If that makes sense.
I feel like everyone is in their own little, like, even when you're people watching on the streets, everyone's in their own little bubble.
Yes.
And everyone's concerned with their world and their world only.
Absolutely.
There's like nowhere else like it in the world.
100%. No, it's truly a beast in and of itself, for sure.
Yeah. And I get so many questions about, like, so many girls DM me about moving to South Florida.
Yeah.
So what are some pros and cons of living in South Florida and pros and cons of living in New York?
I'd say pros of living in South Florida would be the beach, obviously.
Yeah.
Being able to just escape your daily life, your hustle and bustle, whatever you're doing for work, you can just go to the beach. I'd also say the weather. It's always nice here. It's always beautiful. Even if it's raining, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I'd say another pro is that the majority of the time people are very happy here and people are very nice. So you kind of have, people in retirement who are happy because they've retired and they're not working anymore, or you have someone like you who's an influencer, a podcaster, blogger, who's kind of found a way to keep romanticizing her life and making the most out of it and is super happy. Yeah. So, and then you also have students who are studying who are also happy because they're doing it in the warmth. So I'd say those two, and then I'd say cons would be that the seasons don't change. So that was one thing I really struggled with when staying in Florida in the summer, because I was in school here. And I called my mom, the trees aren't changing. I miss fall. I miss,
you're like, Christmas isn't Christmas anymore.
Yeah. And here I am getting a Christmas tree in my apartment and decorating, and I'm like, I can't. There's no snow. This doesn't feel real. So that's definitely something that you can't change here, but that's a con of living in South Florida. And it's hard to think of a second.
Do you think you would ever move back here?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely, yes. I'd love to
Wow.
live here one day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then pros and cons of living in New York.
Good questions.
Wait, and then let's toss in Toronto too.
Yeah,
Can we
yeah,
do that? Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So living in Toronto, or I'll do New York first, New York
Okay.
City. I'd say the pros are you're just central to everything. You can travel everywhere, anywhere. Even the subway system is great. You can get across the city in seconds.
Did that take you? So, okay, I've gone to visit New York a handful of times, and my best friends live on it. Like, they
Yeah.
all live there.
Yeah.
The subway's like second nature to them.
Yes.
Subways terrify me.
Yes.
I've
Why?
gotten
Really?
so lost.
Yeah.
I mean, because I like to drive everywhere. I'm so
Yeah.
used to just like walking or
Right,
driving.
right.
So subways like terrified me like hell. When you moved to the city, was that a big
Right.
adjustment for you?
Absolutely. I had only taken it a couple of times in Toronto, and it's nothing like Toronto. So the first couple of times I got lost, I would kind of do loops, and I would
Yeah.
not really realize, how to get to the other side of the street, or, there's a difference between going Upper East versus Lower East Side. So it took a while to get adjusted to it, but once you kind of know your ways or where you're going, it's like you know it like the back of your hand. You don't even have to question where you're going or how you're getting there. So I think it would take like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks tops to
Wow.
kind of learn the system.
Yeah. Okay, I cut you off, so go ahead.
No, you're
I
so
wanted
fine.
to hear.
So that's a pro of living in New York is the subway system and being able to fly anywhere because they have so many international airports. And I'd also say another pro would be the seasons. You do see the seasons there, and people kind of make the most of every season and every holiday. So
Yeah.
Christmas, I actually spent Christmas there with my family.
Oh,
Yeah,
how was
it was
that?
so special. We got a tree off the side of the road. We
Oh my
decorated my
gosh.
apartment. We had a beautiful Christmas brunch. We went to the Nutcracker. It was a very New York typical Christmas.
Wow, okay, I love that.
Yeah, it was super
Okay.
special.
So fun.
So definitely the seasons, like October, Central Park is so beautiful, just seeing the leaves change.
Yeah.
And then I'd say some cons. My first would be that it's definitely a bit chaotic and overstimulating. So you don't really get a chance to be in nature other than going to Central Park or going
Yeah.
away for the weekend. So I'd say that that's a con, just the constant stimulation.
Yeah.
And then another con I would say is that it's very expensive. I think it's now ranked one of the most expensive places to live.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just, you can't necessarily afford what you would get in South Florida or
Yeah.
Toronto for what you would get in New York. So
Yeah.
those would be my little list.
Oh, I love it. And then if someone's going to visit, what are some of your favorite like spots? Like what was like a typical day? Because I think you're so young and you've lived
Yeah.
in so many different places that like it's so cool to see like how you've changed too.
Right,
Like and just
right.
grown and progressed. What was like a typical day in the life for you?
So I worked very long hours. So I was working at Weill Cornell Medicine. So it's Cornell's hospital in the Upper East Side. So I'd wake up in the morning. I would have my breakfast, get on the subway, get to work. I would shadow whatever doctor I was working with, do that for the day, and then I was honestly too tired to exercise, which we'll kind of maybe touch upon later. But
yeah, I want to hear about that.
so then I would sometimes like get takeout or go out for dinner like on my street that I was living at, and then I would go to bed. So that was a very non-traditional New York day in the life. But then a weekend day in the life, I
Yeah.
would just walk. So my
Okay.
favorite thing to do was not set any plans, not make any reservations, just
Oh my God,
put
I'm
my
loving this.
AirPods in, put my sunglasses on, and walk. Walk for hours, just exploring new places and not telling anyone where I'm going, not talking to anyone, but just being alone with myself, taking myself on a huge date across the city. And if I see a cafe, I'd stop in, or if I saw a cute store, I'd kind of
Yeah.
take note of it, but was just walking and just kind of getting lost in my new home.
I
Was
love
probably a big
that. Oh my
highlight for
gosh.
me. Yeah.
I love that. And then where did you find the balance of, because obviously you went to school for, so what is it that you were studying completely? Like what is it that you want to do with your doctorates?
So it's a doctor of audiology. So in like kind of layman terms, it's an ear doctor.
Okay.
So what we do as an audiologist, it's comparative to an optometrist. So you go to your eye doctor,
Yeah.
get your eyes checked to get your prescription. They'll put your prescription in your glasses. They tell you what's wrong with your eyes, but they wouldn't do any surgery. You would get your eye surgery by an ophthalmologist. So as an audiologist, I'm an ear doctor, so I can test your hearing through diagnostic testing. If you have
Wow.
hearing loss,
Yeah.
I prescribe your hearing loss into a set of hearing aids. I can do balance testing, vestibular testing, newborn hearing screenings, so everything that encompasses the ear. But then if you had to get an ear surgery, you wouldn't come to me. I would refer you, or you would go to your otolaryngologist, also known as an ENT. So as an audiologist,
Wow.
we see all kinds of different patients similar to an optometrist, but for very specialized issues that have to do with the ear.
Wow. Okay. And then how did you get into that? Like, did you always know that you wanted to do that?
No, I didn't. People always ask, like, "What? Do you like ears? Like, is this some weird fetish?" I'm like, "No, I
You
swear
have an
it's
ear
not.
fetish?
It's not."
No, yeah, I want it. I've never heard. Well, obviously, I've heard of them because my grandparents had hearing problems.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Did they have it in old age, or they had it when they were younger?
They had it in old age, and then I had
Okay.
a best friend growing up who had a hearing aid.
Okay.
And she used to get picked on for it a ton, and I'd be like, no one's allowed to talk about her,
Yeah.
no one's allowed to touch her ear, like
that breaks
no
my
one's allowed to pick
heart.
out her ears.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know why she had the hearing loss? Was it
I
at
think
birth?
it was just birth.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was before they had like the tiny little micro ones. They had
Yeah.
like the big ones that went over her ears.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they had the
Yeah.
smaller ones back then too,
Yeah.
but she had that as a child, and
Yeah.
that is so interesting that you are going into that field.
No,
So-
it's definitely very
Yeah.
rewarding, but I didn't know I wanted to do it my whole life. I really wanted to do something health related.
Okay.
So when I got my undergraduate degree, I did a Bachelor of Health Sciences, and I didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do. So it was kind
Yeah.
of like a medical science course for 4 years. And then we actually had this class where you had to make an infographic on a health profession that you knew nothing about. So,
and that's what you picked.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
stumbled
no
across it, and I
way.
was like, oh my gosh, what is this? This sounds super interesting.
Yeah.
And then all these other little signs kept coming in. My grandfather ended up getting pretty severe dementia, and he also had untreated hearing loss. So he ended up getting hearing aids during his progression of the dementia. So I kind of wanted to see, is there a cause and effect? Someone who's not getting the treatment for their hearing loss, can they get dementia faster, or could it reverse the
Wow,
progression?
yeah.
So I wanted to see if there was some kind of correlation. So that was kind of something else, that a little
Yeah.
sign that came into my
Wait, and
my path.
what was that? How did like your not experiment, but
Yeah.
what did you find?
So when I was in school, I actually did some research on the correlation between auditory deprivation and cognitive decline.
Okay.
So there actually are a lot of studies out there that say that, you know,
Wow.
if you have hearing loss, you're lacking those senses, you can't hear, you're kind of stressing your brain to work harder. So say you can't hear,
Wow.
and you're kind of saying, "Can you speak up?" or "What did you say?" It's taking you a lot more energy to think, "Oh my gosh, what is she saying?" or trying to make out those words.
Wait, oh my gosh. Now, okay,
Yeah.
so many things are going on in my head. Both my parents,
Yeah.
or both my grandparents who had hearing problems
Yeah.
had dementia. They recently
Really
passed
interesting.
within the past
I'm
2 years.
sorry. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
really tough.
They lived such a beautiful, long lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're with us here
Yeah.
in heaven.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so crazy. And now I'm like, I ask people to repeat themselves every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Have you ever had your hearing tested?
No.
You should definitely.
you recommend
you should,
it?
Yeah, you should consider it. No, seriously,
Wow.
yeah, because that's what can happen. So, you know, your grandparents, for
Yeah.
example, if they got dementia and they were kind of straining, "Oh, I can't hear Amelia from the other room," it's actually adding so much to their cognitive load.
Wow.
So that it's actually requiring more for them to concentrate on that, which can actually impair their cognition. So
As they progressed older, not as like a younger age, did that have do you think that had any impact?
I haven't seen any studies on it now for people our age,
Yeah.
but I guess if you're not stimulating your senses, it's like if you have vision loss and you're not wearing glasses, you're going to start to strain. You're going to get headaches. It's not going to work out for you. So I'm sure if you're getting untreated hearing loss at our age too, you're not getting that constant auditory stimulation. It could potentially actually affect those neural pathways.
Wow, Emily, this is so cool. I'm like a nerd. I'm like, wow, this is so
And I'm like,
cool.
science,
Tell
let's
me
keep
more.
talking. I love it.
Also, I feel like I breezed over that. Thank you so much
Of course.
for your love comment about my
gosh.
grandparents. Yes, we love them very dearly, and
Yeah.
they lived such beautiful lives, and
Yeah.
it was.
It's
we knew it
tough.
was coming.
Yeah. Your goodbyes, and
Yeah,
it's never easy though.
and
Yeah.
same for your grandfather. I'm so sorry to hear about his dementia.
No, he passed
Yeah.
as well. So it was
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
so sorry.
Yeah. After it happened, I was like, okay, I want to see if
Yeah.
I can help other people like him.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
so it's kind of my little inspiration every day when I work, you know, I'm doing this for other people and for him.
That is so beautiful. I love that.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So that's how you got it started in a school project.
Yeah.
And then
and I wanted to tell you this as well. So when I was in undergrad, I studied abroad in Singapore for a summer.
Oh my God, no way.
So when we were there, we were doing a public health course where you get the chance to go to India and see how all of their medical facilities are over there.
Wow.
So when I went there, it was in a rural area. It was called the Christian Medical Clinic in Vellore. I asked them, I said, do you guys have any audiologists or ear doctors? And one of the nurses there said, you know what, we don't. Unfortunately, hearing loss goes untreated here the majority of the time because we don't have the resources or the trained individuals to help treat hearing loss. So that was something else that kind of stuck with me, and I was like, one day I hope to kind of bridge this gap and provide hearing health care and services to people abroad as well. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to watch you grow and to see how you can make that change in this industry.
Thank you.
Wow, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, you have so many titles to who you are. You are now a doctor. Yeah, you're officially a doctor now. You are an influencer as well. You run Mr. 05, you're the founder of Mr. 05, and you're a friend. You do so much. How do you balance like social media with your own social media and then Mr. 05 and then at the same time your extensive work? That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is. Yeah, it's a lot. I definitely struggled to find balance. It's been hard to decide how to allocate my time, how to, you know, work on something more than another, or you know, what area should I focus on? Because I love every part of it. I love being a good friend. I love having my family around. I love, you know, being there for them. But I also, you know, love having this company. I love being an influencer and taking content. And I love the job as an audiologist that I'm about to start. So I think this past year was when I really started to juggle everything well. It was definitely hard for me for, you know, the heat of it, the 2-3 years of everything. But in New York, I think because New York is such a humbling place and everyone has so much going on, you go somewhere and, you know, you meet someone. Okay, they're the CEO of something. They also work 9 to 5. They also are a model. They also have a great social life. And you start seeing, oh, I'm not the only one who also does all this. It's kind of refreshing, but also a great way to see how they do it and how they find balance. So when I was in New York, I actually had some mentors during my time at Cornell who said, hey, Emily, do you have a routine? Or Emily, how do you do all this? You designed that, you made your website, I was like, yeah, it's me. And
wait, so you don't have anyone who helps you on the back end of Mr. 05?
So I did when I was in Florida, but when I went to New York, I had to, because of this situation, had to kind of shut some doors to kind of put it on the back burner to kind of
Which
focus.
Makes sense.
To find that balance. So I had someone say, how do you do all this? And I said, well, I do this. I have this person doing this. I have this. I have this. And they were like, well, how are you going to become a doctor if you do all these other things? And I kind of sat there and I was like, I don't know. I was like, shit, I have to figure something out. So I decided to, you know, be more focused in what's most important to me, and that's helping people hear and making people feel better. But also to take care of myself first, because I was kind of falling into this trap where I was doing all these things, filling out all these, wearing all these hats, filling out all these roles, but I wasn't really prioritizing me and my wellness. So I said, hey, look, I can always have this clothing company. This clothing company is doing well. It will be fine. I can, you know, structure my life, work on it twice a week. Everything will be okay. I will never have the chance to do my residency at one of the best hospitals in North America. Let's make the most of this and allocate my time to this.
Love it.
Influencing, that's my passion project. I'm going to do that on Saturdays. I'm going to go take photos. I'm going to go on my walks. I'm going to get people to take photos of me. That's going to be my fun day of the week. Being a friend, making sure to call one friend every day during my lunch just to catch up, just to hear, and just be a good person and, you know, see what it's like. My friends living overseas, or not overseas, in Toronto. So
Which is,
you know what I mean.
Which is a distance, for sure.
So I guess just the way I found the balance was taking care of myself and narrowing down my priorities.
Yeah.
And kind of listing out, okay, what's important to me now and what can I do later in my future, and what can I do now, and where do I see myself and my health fit into this, and what can I do to become the best version of myself and actually accomplish what I want to do.
I love that, and that is such an incredible answer and so well thought out.
Thank you.
Because I know we didn't even put that in the show notes, because that you do balance so much under an umbrella of one person, and the fact that you were able to be like, hey, like on a grand scheme, look at everything I have. What can I prioritize? What will always be here for me, and what do I love? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't figure out, and maybe not until like their 40s or 30s. And the fact that you were able to figure that out and narrow it down at such a young age is so incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You should be so proud of yourself. Yeah. And influencing. So when did that become, like, when did social media become like a light for you?
So it was actually thanks to Miss 305.
Wow, wait, no way.
Yeah. So I always loved taking photos, and I always, loved social. I've always loved Instagram. Instagram has always been the platform that I've loved looking at people's photos. I've loved posting, and it's always been my little sweet spot social media platform. So when I started Miss 305, I was working with a bunch of influencers, and that's how we were getting our most sales, was through influencer marketing. And
did you reach out to the influencers yourself to be like, hey,
yes,
love your content, let's collab?
Yes.
Okay.
And then a lot of influencers reaching out to us too. So,
well, actually, I reached out to you guys way back when.
Really?
And that's how I found you. Like,
oh my
I
gosh.
reached out and I was like, so if you guys are watching on video, you can tell that the quality has clearly changed. My camera space got full, and I lost like my disc, like my like plug disc. So I'm like, we're filming on my phone for right now. So that's how I stumbled upon you, because I
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought we just followed each other because we both lived in South Florida.
I don't remember when I found your page, but I think I found Miss 305, and then I found your page, and I was like, oh, she's so cute.
Oh,
I love her content.
Sweet.
I love her clothing.
Oh, I just got chills.
Yeah. No,
just got
like,
goosebumps. You're so kind.
It was way back when, like even before I started influencing.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Influencing. How did you get into
So I was, working with a lot of influencers. We had our first big campaign for Miss 305, our Sweetwater collection, where we worked with a couple of really good influencers who were awesome. And the more I worked with them, the more I thought I kind of wanted to do it as well. And the photographer for the campaign said to me, why aren't you in these photos? Why aren't you in this campaign? I said,
wait, were you ever in the photos in the beginning, or what did that look like for you?
No, it was more just me doing the creative design. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I kind of liked being behind the scenes. As much as I love taking photos and being in photos, I kind of liked being able to be like, you do this, this is what this looks like. But then when she said that, it kind of stuck with me, and she was like, you would look great in this stuff. And I didn't really think anything of it at the time, but then a couple weeks went by, and I started posting as if I was an influencer, and I started posting more authentic things. I was posting in my stories, and I kind of said, I don't really care what people think anymore. What I'm posting, I kind of just want to post stuff that I want to post.
I love it.
So I just did that bit by bit. And then I started, I think this was about 2.5 years ago, I started just messaging brands. Any brand I saw on Instagram, I would message saying, hi, I'd love to work with you. No response, nothing. And then it would be, months, and it'd be like, okay, no one wants to work. I guess I just have to keep posting stuff. So I'd buy something, I'd tag it, and then it kind of just kept growing that way. And then I would still keep messaging brands. And then one said, oh my God, yeah, we love your stuff. We would love to see your content.
Yeah.
So then bit by bit, I'd get rejected by a couple, but then one out of those 5 would say, we'd love to work with you. So then it was going really well, and I was loving it. So it's definitely, I learned a lot from Miss 305 and influencers that way, but then I kind of discovered it myself as well. And, it took a lot of time to get where I am now, but, it was a process, and it was super fun. And to anyone out there who, wants to start influencing or sees influencing, this, you're an influencer yourself, but just put yourself out there and stop caring what people think, because I think that's the number one thing is people care so much about what others are thinking, or, oh, this person's going to see this photo and think I'm this or this, that. Once you put those horse blinders on and you have no more peripheral vision, and it's just you, you feel amazing, and you can accomplish anything, and then that's when you get that audience. That's when you get people who want to see your stuff, because it's just you. It's the authentic version of yourself.
Yeah, wow, that was so well said.
Thank you.
I love that, and I love hearing everyone's story about how they got started into social media, because I'm such a firm believer that there's a space for everyone in this industry.
Absolutely.
Like, everyone is their own individual, and there's
100%.
so many ways that you can brand yourself, you can market yourself, you can create different content, and yeah, that's like my favorite part about like meeting different influencers and like their styles and the way that they
Right.
take photos and videos is completely
Yeah.
different than like the way I take photos and edit
100%.
videos and things like that. So I love that. And you've gone to so many fun events and you've like taken your audience along with them. What are some of the things that like, or like what's a piece of advice you would give to for like events? Like I know a lot of people are like, I want to start creating content. They'll start creating content, but then how do they brand themselves? Like how do they communicate with brands back?
Absolutely. I think it's just, once again, putting yourself out there and not being scared, that a brand's going to say no.
Yeah.
Because it will happen. There's a huge
Yeah.
chance that brands say, we're actually, our roster is complete, or your content doesn't match with ours. I think it's just, also aligning yourself with brands that you actually like. And I know you do this very well. At first, I was just going after anything.
Wait, I did the same though.
You too?
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
things that didn't even make sense
Yeah.
with my content. I'd be like, if you have a budget, I'm in.
Right.
And then I was like, wait, why the hell am I doing
Right.
this? This doesn't
And
feel
for
right.
me, even if they didn't have a budget, I was like, oh, great, like you'll send me a pair of socks, fantastic, like
Yeah.
great. And then I'd
Yeah.
get the products and I'm like, wait, but this actually has nothing to do with me. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So I think, finding out, it's hard to know your niche right away. I'm still figuring it out myself,
Wait, what would you say your niche is?
I'd say it was very much heavily fashion, but I
Yeah.
think it changes where I'm based.
I
So
love
like
that.
Florida was like
Yeah.
fashion and like lifestyle. New York was heavily fashion, and now that I'm in Toronto, I'm trying to make it, and now that I'm in the heat of my career, I want it to be more wellness oriented and
Yeah.
actually talk about my profession. But I think to go back on what advice to give to people who, they want to go to these events, they want to become an influencer, I think just kind of, okay, making a list. What are the brands you want to work with? Okay, for example, I always wanted to work with Aloe. It was one of my dreams. I love their clothing. I really wanted to have a partnership with them.
Yeah.
And New York Fashion Week was rolling around, and I just...
Are you going to this New York Fashion Week?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, because I'm starting a new job, so
Yeah.
I have to do all the onboarding. But this was 2 fashion weeks ago.
Okay. So this was your first year in New York?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. And I just decided, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to send them an email. I'm going to tell them I love their clothes. I'm an influencer. This is what I stand by. I like to work with brands that I love, and I would love to work with them during Fashion Week. And they said, absolutely, come
love
to
that.
our store in Upper East Side
Yeah.
and experience Fashion Week with Aloe. And it was fantastic. And I think, that would have never happened if it wasn't for putting myself out there and just taking that leap of faith. And
Yeah.
I think anyone, it's not about how many followers you have or what you look like on the outside. I think it's, what you stand for.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what resonates with you. And,
Yeah.
just starting somewhere, just first starting off by not caring, and second, just putting yourself out there. And you honestly have to fake it till you make it. Like,
You
really do.
Yeah.
No one just wakes up one day as an influencer. Like, if you're passionate about
Yeah.
helping people and you want to have a community and you want to influence people in their lives, then you essentially are an influencer. It's
Yeah.
just acting like it. And then once you act like it, you become it.
I love this. Yes, yes, yes. And also something that I feel like a lot of people that are like, I want to become an influencer, but brands aren't reaching out to me.
Yeah.
That's like not a thing. I feel like
Absolutely.
unless like you are really growing immediately overnight,
Right.
it's so much easier for you to go out and reach out to brands because they don't know that you're looking for them. They're not looking for you.
Exactly.
Wow, I love
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, and that's such a great message.
Thank you. I hope it resonates with some people, because I know there's so many people out there, girls, oh, how do you do this? Or I want to do this too, or you get invited to this, and it's at the end of the day, it's work. When
Yeah.
someone says, oh, you got this free thing, or oh, you got paid just to take a photo, it's not just that. It's,
Yes.
the whole amp that you need to be able to get that collaboration or that partnership, and then
Yeah.
sustaining that partnership, and then actually creating the content. It's work.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of people have misconceptions about like content creating or like influencing, and they're like, oh, you just take photos and get paid for it, but there's so much that goes into it that you don't see on the back end, like
Absolutely.
the contracts and negotiating brand deals and like the meetings that go into them, like, and there's like so many times where you'll connect with a brand or I'll connect with a brand and they'll say like, hey, this is our set budget, but I'm like,
Right.
you know, like, can we, like, if you're asking for all these deliverables, let's figure
Right.
out like these rates.
Exactly.
And there's so many things that go into the back end too, like traveling and planning out the content and the amount of like brands that you're working with on your like content calendar. It's a lot.
Exactly.
And like, I'm one of those people who like, I like to see the finished products. Like, I genuinely don't, unless it's something I'm super passionate about, I don't want to see all the knit and grit that goes into it. I just want to see it.
Exactly.
And that's what I feel like a lot of people are like. They're like, they only see the final product.
Right.
And then they're like, that's easy.
Right.
Like, why isn't everyone?
Exactly.
And I think there's such, especially now since quarantine, like, there's more spaces than ever to like
100%.
have a community to connect with people because
Absolutely.
everyone has a story.
Exactly.
And I think now that's becoming more of a thing than in the past. I think influencers used to just be these like glorified people, and now they're more like of a connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that what you said was beautiful. It's
Thank
very
you.
true. It's
Yeah.
true.
But that's how I feel about your content too.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I connect with you, I feel like I'm waking up in Toronto with you.
Right.
I feel like I'm like camping with your friends. I feel like I'm
love
at your
that.
picnics. Like, yeah.
Thank you.
So,
No,
yeah.
it's and I think also, you know, anyone can do it. I think if you have the drive, if you know, want to inspire people, and if you have that impact on people, then you can naturally become that and you can work towards it. So anyone
Yeah.
who wants to kind of, you know, create a community can. It's just
Yeah.
about putting the work in and actually caring about others and wanting to make an impact in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what I
something-
see through you as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Of
so
course.
much. You're like
You're
an
so
angel.
cute. No,
Like,
that's
I
you're
love
adorable.
this. What is your like work-life balance? Because I know you're doing so much, but then with social media, when do you turn off? Because I think that's the hardest
Yeah.
part about like being on all the time, is that like you feel like you have to constantly take content with you or with family, or
Right.
like, you know, this is like a cute angle, I'm gonna snap that real quick.
Right.
What is your balance between like finding time for social and then finding time just for like present time, like every day?
So what I do, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I always try to be present when I'm actually in the moment. I take my photos while I'm there, but I never post when I'm there.
I do the same.
You do the
yeah,
same?
I do the
Oh my
same.
gosh,
And
I
then
thought
I
I
get
was
in
the
my
only
car
one.
and I
Yes,
post them because I'm
yes.
like,
Because then I'm just
Yeah.
like, I just find it disrespectful and rude when, you know, you're at a dinner. I was at a dinner with my parents earlier tonight, and
oh,
you
where'd
know,
you guys go to dinner?
we went to the fish market in Boca.
Oh, I've never been there.
It was really cute. It was
Oh,
adorable. It was really
yum.
yummy. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So there, I, you know, got my mom to snap some pics of me with my lobster, all
Yeah.
excited, and of course I want to post that to my story, but right away, airplane mode, back in purse.
Do you
doesn't-
have your phone on airplane mode all the time?
Yes.
No way.
Yes, because if I'm constantly getting messages or people are texting me, I can't be present.
Okay.
So
Wow.
a lot of the time, unless like I need, like if I'm not doing something, or if I'm not, you know, if I'm not near my family, or if I'm not near someone that's like sick or something, then I'll obviously have it, so I can kind of keep tabs on that. But
Yeah.
other than that, I try to keep my phone on airplane, also to save storage so it doesn't, or to save battery life, so it
Wait.
doesn't die when I'm out.
I've
and
never heard
about,
of someone
but-
doing airplane mode instead of like
Really?
do not disturb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then
Wow.
people actually can't reach me. And then it's, you know, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm actually alone in this world, even though I'm taking these photos, but I'm so much more present because people can't
I love.
talk.
I
so
love
that's kind of
that.
what I do. And then at the end of the day, I'll post my stuff, or after I do something, then I'll post. But it's definitely hard to find that balance.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, let's get into wellness because I want to hear so much
Yes.
about your wellness lifestyle and everything that you practice and preach. I know you're doing the 75 hard right now.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's tough. It actually is really hard. I didn't expect it to be this hard.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
how many days are you into it?
So I'm 23 days in.
Okay.
And at the start, it was like the first week, I was like, oh my God, this is easy, great. So do you know anything about 75 Hard, or like what the tasks are? Okay.
I literally yesterday was researching so much about it.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this new guy and he was like, he saw my computer. He was like, are you going to do the 75 Hard? And I was like, no, but maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, my friend Emily's doing it right now.
Yeah.
And I have so many questions because I
Yes.
learned so much about it yesterday.
Oh my God, wait, I'm so
So
excited.
I want to hear everything.
So my dad actually shared it with me a year ago and told me about the program because he really wanted to try it out. It's this.
Are you guys doing it together?
So yes, we're doing it together.
Wow.
So it's kind of encourage each other, and it's been really fun. You have to complete 5 critical tasks every day. So Andy Frizella is the one who started this program.
Okay.
And it's just to develop mental toughness. It's not to do with physical toughness, even though that kind of comes with it, but
Yeah.
just to be very mentally tough, to teach you to kind of be able to face any kind of adversity.
Wow.
So the 5 critical tasks, the first one is to drink a gallon of water every day.
Okay.
And then you have to do 2 45-minute workouts. And
Outdoors, right?
one has to be outdoors.
Okay. And what are you doing?
So mine are different every day. So I do my outdoor one. I try to get done in the morning because
Okay.
even if it rains, even if it's snowing, it doesn't matter what the conditions are outside. You have to do it outside because
Okay.
it's supposed to teach you that not everything in life is controlled. So get out there and do that
Wow.
workout. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I usually do a walk or a run depending on the day for my outdoor one, and then my other 45 minutes will be like Pilates or a HIIT workout.
Okay.
And then you also have to take a picture of yourself every day,
Okay.
a progress picture. And then you have to stick to whatever kind of diet you want.
Wait, I have so many questions as you
yes, please,
list
please,
them.
please.
How has the progress been? Have you seen like the difference in the photos? Or have you just like put them, like taken them and then put them away?
So I haven't looked at them. I haven't
Oh
looked
my
at them.
gosh,
So
yeah.
I'm just doing that because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling when I do look, I'm not gonna be looking at the physical transformation. I'm gonna look at like the glow in my face, which is what people have said
Yeah.
since I've started, is that like you look like you're glowing or you look like you're
You
happier.
do. Your skin is like so hydrated and
Thank
bouncy.
you.
I've been staring at it since we've
Thank
been
you.
recording.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you. So I think it's gonna be more of that kind of transition.
Like not physical, mental.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
within, without.
Right,
Yeah.
right. To just see like, okay, I actually looked like I was struggling, like at the start, like
Wow.
just like mentally, like I just didn't look as happy. And then I feel like my last photo, I don't know yet, but I just have a feeling that I'm gonna look transformed.
No, I
from
know you're
within.
going to.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, the progress picture, and then you also have to. Let me think. Oh, you have to read 10 pages of a book. And it
Okay.
has to be like an entrepreneurial, self-motivating kind of book. It can't be fiction, so it has to be nonfiction.
And what are you reading?
So I'm reading The Psychology of Money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Huh.
I've never studied math, finance, business, so
Yeah.
I kind of thought, I saw it in one of the top books you should read before you die. And
Oh, I love that.
so I was like, okay, this is perfect. And it's a great way to kind of learn finance without having to go in the mathematical details. But it's all
Yeah.
about, greed, happiness, and money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's,
cool.
and it's great because this is now the second book I've read while doing 75 Hard. I read another book about social media, actually.
Oh, which
by-
book?
It's called Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay, I've never heard of it, so I wanted to
Okay,
know.
you should definitely give it a read. It's
Okay.
just about personal branding and how to just put yourself out there on
Wow.
all different platforms. But
Wow.
what I've been liking is that it's forcing me to, read one book because you can't read multiple books. You have to read one, get
Okay.
it done, and
Were
then you
you-
start the next.
Always a big reader.
I've always loved reading.
Okay.
But I haven't read this much in a while since school.
Yeah.
So it's been really great.
And then do you read in the morning or the night?
It depends on what I'm doing that day, but I find that I'm more attentive when I'm reading in the morning because I like to take notes
Yeah.
while I'm reading or in my book. And at night, I'd rather read a fiction book at night to fall asleep and then my nonfiction book in
Yeah.
the morning to kind of really absorb it.
Wow, yeah, they say that like the first hour or 2 hours when you first wake up, that's when your brain takes in all the things for your subconscious for the
Absolutely.
day. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think there's one more task you have to do. Now I can't remember it. I probably didn't do it. Oh, yeah, you have to stick to some kind of, he says diet, but that includes just whatever you want. So you could do keto,
Okay.
you could do vegetarian, vegan. There's no restrictions. It's just, eating some kind of healthy form. So no
Okay.
processed foods, no quote unquote cheat meals.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing, I don't really like sticking to diets. I'm
Okay.
more into intuitive eating.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah.
So I like just nourishing my body, what's good for me, not eating processed foods. And, if I'm hungry, I'll eat. Or if I want something, I'm not going to restrict myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm
Wow.
doing for that.
And then is there alcohol? I feel like one of my friends did it and she, because I didn't see it on the list, But I remember she did no alcohol during the 75.
That's the fifth critical task. I totally forgot. Wow.
How has that been?
It's been tough.
Yeah.
So I loved drinking socially with my friends.
Yeah.
It's something I've always done, like in
Yeah.
college, but I kind of stopped liking the way it made me feel.
That's why I stopped drinking too.
You don't drink?
I'm like completely sober.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Yeah.
It was really tough going to certain social situations where, all your best friends are drinking and like
Yeah.
that's what you usually do. But honestly, I've found it to be kind of, a good conversation starter, as weird as it sounds.
Really?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
'Cause people are like, oh, why do you have a water bottle in your hand? Or why aren't you having a shot? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually doing this and I kind of love it.
And what is like the initial reaction when you tell people that you're doing the 75 hard?
So some people are like, oh my God, what? Why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. Or like, that
Wait,
sounds
really?
crazy. Yeah.
Like in a mean way?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes. Some people, yes. Or like, why
I
are you
find
doing
that's-
this now?
yeah.
Why are you doing this in the summer? Why are you doing this? Like, why not just,
Yeah.
and I'm like.
And what's your answer back?
I don't even have words because it's just like, wait, what? Like, you should be happy. Wait, this is great.
Yeah, I feel like that's the initial reaction. Like when I heard when you texted that, because I asked you, I was like, is there anything specific you want to talk about? And you said the 75 hard, and I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. That is so cool. We're absolutely going to talk about that.
Right. Yeah,
That's so crazy.
I've had some mixed reactions. So a lot of my close friends, the majority of them have been like, this is amazing. I want to do that. I want to start. Like, I want to do this at some point.
Yeah.
And a lot of them actually stopped drinking while I'm not doing this too. And we've been getting mocktails and everyone's kind of on that page. But then there'll be the odd person that I'm friends with or like a friend's boyfriend or whatever. And they'll say, wait, what? That's crazy. And when I get those kinds of reactions, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, I need to protect my energy and not necessarily tell everyone about this because all I want is, positive energy because this is already something that's difficult. Like, I don't need someone to look down upon it, It should be something that's inspiring or motivating.
Yeah, well, I'm championing you through it. I think this is incredible. I think
so sweet.
You're so young and you're so motivated and you're so, like, filled with light that this is going to, like, this inspires me. Like, hearing these conversations inspire me, and I hope that, like, anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching feels the exact same. Go you. That's fucking awesome. Yeah.
No, it's definitely great. And I think anyone who's, who wants to stop drinking or limit their alcohol or is struggling with, having a structure in their life, it's definitely something that's worth trying. Even if you don't get it through to the 75 days, you can always start again. And it definitely helps to kind of habit stack and make sure you get your stuff done faster because you have to get all these other things done in your day. So I definitely recommend it for anyone out there who's
I love it.
looking to try something different.
Well, I love that, and thank you for sharing that because I just think that's so cool. I really do. I love hearing different people that like are challenging themselves because I think life should always be like you should always constantly be growing and finding different ways to like learn more about yourself and like look within. So I think that is so fucking cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you skipped a day?
So I've had to start again once.
Okay. Which I love that you're being so honest about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was actually at one of my best friend's champagne toasts, and everyone was drinking, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna have any, whatever. I ordered a mocktail sangria, and I was like so ready to be on board.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shoot, like I didn't do my workouts. And we were having a party at her place after, and I kind of just felt, okay, like this isn't right for me to go do 2 45-minute workouts.
Wait, you restarted because of the workouts, not because of like the drinking, not because of, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is my fault. I slept in. I should have worked out before going to my friend's party. So then came the afternoon. I was like, okay, guess I'm starting again.
Wow.
The next day.
Technically, you would have been at what, like 40?
Something.
Was it like halfway through, or was it like?
It was halfway through. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, has your dad finished it?
So he hasn't finished it yet. So he's technically 15 days ahead.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But they say that every person has like one thing that's really hard for them. So like if it could be like the drinking for one person, or for me it's like, okay, I really want to have like a large pizza and eat it all to myself. Like that's like my hard thing, but it's processed, so I can't do it. So those are like the challenges that I've faced.
Wow, Emilie, that is so cool.
Thank you.
I love hearing that. And now I want to hear so much about like your daily routines, your wellness routines. Like what are, okay, so now we talked about your daily routine in New York.
Yeah.
What is your daily routine in Toronto?
Okay, so now that I have, more of a sense of taking care of myself after New York, after, people telling me, do you have a routine? Or I didn't really like think much of routines in my life. I never had a routine. I kind of just woke up and did whatever I wanted. I had no structure. Didn't matter when I was in school, whatever. It was just whatever the day was. So then after being in New York and having one of my mentors say, look, you should probably have a routine. It's actually really good. Like, you should wake up at the same time. You should go to bed at the same time. You should work out every day, or whatever your routine may be. And I was like, what? Like, I don't do that. Like, I wake up, I sleep in a little, and then I get there when it's time to be there. So that kind of sparked a little bit of ignition in me, and I was like, okay, I want to be a routine girly now. Like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
So that's honestly one of the reasons why I started 75 Hard, because I was like, this gives me good routine.
Yeah.
But my routine in Toronto, it's still different every day, but I try to do a couple things that are the same every day. So I try to get into bed before 10:30 at night, to fall asleep before 12. And in the day,
in bed, are you on your phone? Are you reading?
No, never on my phone when I'm in the bed, and never watching TV in the bed. Always just either chatting with my boyfriend, or just like thinking about the day, or like reflecting on like what went well, what didn't go well. And then in the morning, I usually try to do a workout in the morning if I can.
Okay, what time are you waking up?
So it depends on the day, but I try to wake up before 9 every day.
Okay.
Yeah. And like not spend any time, not more than 5 minutes on my phone when I'm in the bed, because I just would rather not do that. And then I do a workout, and then I usually have my coffee before, then I do a workout.
Coffee is, I love hearing everyone's like knit and grit to their morning routines.
Okay, I think, so you want more.
Like, I think that's what makes us, like, that's how we show up for ourselves every single day. I'm such a crazy, I don't know, I'm crazy about my morning routine, so I love hearing about everyone's. So, like, what's your coffee order? Are we doing black coffee, creamer? What are we doing?
Black coffee. I
really
honestly love the Cinnabon vanilla black coffee.
Okay.
So I make it every morning. It's so good.
Okay.
Highly recommend trying it. Or the Dunkin' vanilla.
Okay.
It's so good. But I always make the coffee. I'm trying not to spend money on coffee, because it's something I can make, and that's like, I get excited the night before that I'm gonna go make my coffee in the morning. I love
that. I'm the same. I like wake up in the morning excited to drink coffee.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's just such a good feeling.
It like gets me out of bed.
Right? Yeah. Do you like yours black?
No, I like my coffee literally the color of my shirt, actually.
Ooh,
like I
a
put
little creamy.
So much cream in it.
Yeah.
It's actually creamy. Well, I do decaf too.
Oh, really?
I like started drinking decaf this year because
no way.
I guess I've developed within the past like 2 years anxiety. Well, I guess I have. Anxiety is a real thing. Yeah. I'm saying I feel like I've developed anxiety within the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And my entire life I've never had anxiety.
Wow.
And I realized that it's from my diet, because now I eat so many whole foods, natural foods, and when I eat and drink goes through my bloodstream so much faster. Yeah. And so
so you get more anxious when you have coffee.
Yeah, I grew up like always. I started drinking coffee in like 6th grade, which is really young.
Yeah.
Like that's so young.
Very, very young.
I loved it. I just loved the taste of it. I do like coffee with creamer, and I was having panic attacks last year.
No.
And I was like, I don't know why they're coming. I don't know what it's caused from. I've always been so easygoing, like happy-go-lucky. And then I saw a doctor, and they were like, it's probably from your caffeine intake.
Wow.
So then I now do decaf.
Wow. Still have like you're still tasting your coffee in the morning.
Oh my god, I love the taste of coffee.
Wow.
So I do decaf, and then I do non-dairy now because of my skin. I get really bad hormonal acne when I eat dairy, so I do decaf, black coffee. I love homemade coffee, and then a ton of non-dairy creamer. Ooh. And that's like my favorite cup.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
like, I want that now. That's awesome. Did you find when you stopped drinking coffee that you got bad headaches, or did you get a little jittery or anxious, or was it better for you because you had that underlying anxiety?
Honestly, no. I think it was just so much better for me. I think I've always just been someone who's super energetic. Like, as a kid, they called me, like, the Tasmanian devil.
Oh, my God.
So, like, I was always running around, just, like, always nonstop. And I think the coffee and the caffeine, and I just had a matcha, and it had caffeine, and I know, like, matcha's not as bad as the coffee, but I know I'll go through, like, spikes. And when I went to decaf, nothing in my life changed. I just felt more myself.
Interesting. That's amazing. I love hearing that.
That's
awesome.
So, okay, so you do black coffee, and then what do you do after?
Yes. So I've been going to Pilates. I was never a Pilates girl, but some of my friends in Toronto showed me this really cool Pilates class that's in like a hot studio, so you sweat a
Ooh,
lot.
I love hot Pilates.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's like really good music, really good energy. Everyone kind of lets loose, and it's dark, so
Yeah.
no one's watching you. You're not looking at anyone, and they have candles everywhere. So I try to do that at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
And then
Love.
yeah, it's so great. So that's like my morning routine, I guess. And then depending on the day, whatever I'm working on, I'll either work at a coffee shop or work at my place in Toronto. And then in the afternoon, you know, I do intermittent fasting.
Me too.
You do too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
I'm like a huge faster.
yeah, I don't really like eating breakfast anyways. Like I don't really have an appetite till around like noonish. So I'll usually have like a really big breakfast at like noon or
What's
1.
breakfast? What are we eating?
Okay, I love avocado toast, like
Okay.
with chili flakes, and then
Ooh, yes.
so good, and then sunny side egg on top to like dip the toast
Yum.
in, some feta on top, and then fruits, whatever kind of fruits I'm craving that day on the side.
Yum. Okay.
That's my like
love.
go-to DIY breakfast lunch kind of.
I love it. Okay, and then
vibe.
do you have lunch too? Because what's your, like what, okay, so you eat around 12.
Yeah.
And then you have your avocado toast with your dippy eggs and your fruit.
Yes.
And then do you eat lunch or do you go straight into dinner?
So I'll have a snack,
Okay.
and then I'll have my dinner like later.
And what's normally your snack?
It depends. Usually, I'm not going to say almonds because of that whole situation on TikTok, the almond mom.
Wait,
Um,
from
yeah.
Yolanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do love nuts. Like that's like a
Okay.
fun snack.
No, but
And-
that's like really fulfilling and
right.
there's so much
I also
protein
just
and fat
enjoy
to
the
it.
taste of them too. They're really
Yeah.
good. And I've been making this almond bake. It's like a granola bake and
Ooh.
like berries, yogurt, granola,
Okay.
and then you mix it all up and then you put it in the oven for like 10 minutes and then it's like
Wow.
your own granola bars, homemade.
Oh my
and like you
gosh,
see
that
everything you're
sounds
putting
so
in it, so it's
good.
just like super filling and it fills me
Yeah.
up so much. It tastes amazing. And like sometimes I add a little bit of almond butter, peanut butter, or little chocolate chips, like dark chocolate.
Yum.
Yeah.
Would you ever film a recipe video for that?
I would. I haven't really considered doing that though.
As you say, if you do, will you send it to me?
Of course. Oh my gosh, obviously.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, and then
Then
dinner.
I usually do dinner around like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Whether I cook it or get takeout,
Mm-hmm.
that's usually the time I want to eat. And then I don't really watch any television. I kind of just relax at night before bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I steam or go in the sauna.
Oh, I'm so big into steam saunas and infrared
It
saunas right
feels
now.
so. I've never done the infrared
good.
sauna.
It's a lot more calming. I love sweating. Like
Yeah.
that's my biggest release. Like
Yeah, me too. Honestly.
today, I cried.
Oh no.
No, it was a good cry. I like needed it. You know, like that. You know, when you just like get to a point where you're like, "There's so much
Yes.
happening in my life."
Yes.
But it's all good,
Yes,
and then
you're
you're like,
"This is amazing."
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm very emotional. I cried in the sauna, and I was like, "Wow!" And it just felt so good. I got out, and I was like, "Oh, fresh of breath air." Like I just felt more grounded in myself.
Yeah. And like refreshed probably too.
Yeah, so refreshed. So okay, so you sauna, you wind down.
Yes. And honestly, every night before bed, I always take a bath.
You do.
Always.
Really?
I've been doing this since I was a kid. My mom does it as well. And she always told me, take a bath
Wow.
before bed. You'll have a better sleep. So I always, and I don't do it for very long. Honestly,
Okay.
I do it for like max 10 minutes. I just sit there and I relax. I'll put like Epsom salts in there or just, a bath bomb. And I do that every single night. If there's a
Wow.
bath, or if I'm at a hotel, like probably not, but
No way.
yeah.
Wait, I've never heard of anyone doing
Yeah,
that. That's
no,
so
like
cool.
I have a weird obsession with taking a tub. Like it's
Taking a
the
tub.
best feeling ever.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Okay. Do you play music or
No.
you just sit in
No.
the silence with your thoughts?
Yeah,
Wow, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
I really like
cool.
it. Yeah.
Wow, okay, I love that. And then favorite wellness trend or hack that you've tried this year that you've embraced?
Oh, good question. I've never meditated until this year,
Wow.
so that would be my wellness hack.
Yeah.
It's been really hard for me being so busy in the past 4 years to like just sit there and feel grounded without thinking about other things.
Uh-huh.
So I tried meditating with an app actually, and
What app?
it's called the Open app.
I love that.
Have you tried it? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah, and they're yoga too.
Yes.
Yeah, and breath
yes,
work. Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
Love.
So I've been trying that, and I just feel so refreshed afterwards.
Good.
And I kind of like, it sounds bad to say, but I used to always, you know, be like, oh, I would never just sit there and like listen. And now I'm like, I need this. This really helps.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I was the same. Like before, because now like meditation is literally like what I surround my life around.
Right. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Have you incorporated it into your routine? Like, do you meditate every day?
Every day. There's not been a single day in the past 3 years now that I haven't meditated.
What time of day? I need to know. I want to add this to my routine. This is awesome.
As soon as I wake up, like no one talks to me, no phone.
Wow.
I like if I have to go and go to the bathroom, I like get up, go to the bathroom, but immediately I meditate.
Wow. So you don't check your phone.
Yeah.
You don't do you meditate through an app, or do you guide yourself through your meditation?
So it depends. Like I love great meditation on YouTube. Then recently, that's one thing I've been working on, and we're incorporating that. We're actually building an app out right now.
Oh my God,
for my own meditation.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. Oh my gosh, when it's done,
Thank you.
I need access to
Oh my
it.
gosh,
I want to do all your meditations.
I would love to send you on.
Yes,
I'll
I
send
would
you
love
on for
to.
sure. I immediately wake up, I meditate first thing. Because if I've had days that I haven't, like, there's not a single day in the past 3 years that I haven't meditated once. Like, I'll do like a 5-minute meditation if I have like an emergency, needed to get out of bed, just toss on clothes, go. I'll like play a car meditation, or play like a walking meditation. But meditation has like truly changed my life. Like it's, I think, truly why I am the way I am now in comparison to how I used to be.
Wow.
So yeah, I immediately wake up, meditate. I don't talk to anyone. I, like, all of my friends know, all of my family know.
Really?
They can't come into my room until I meditate. Like, I'm like crazy
That's
about
amazing.
it.
I had no idea.
Yeah, because I'm like a rage monster if I don't.
Great. So has there ever been a day where you can't, like, you haven't been able to meditate and you can actually tell it was because of that?
Oh yeah. There's been days where, and I love my niece and nephew so much, and if I don't get up, I like to be the first one up in my house. I like grew up with like such a big family, and they all, like, my sisters have their own families now, so their houses are so fun and loud and energetic. But I have to be up first, so then I can get my meditation in. And there's days that I get woken up and I'm like,
You're like, oh no, here comes the bad aunt.
yeah, I'm like, ah! And then I'll be like, hey guys, I love you, I need to take my space.
Yeah.
And everyone in my family is like, go do your thing, because they've seen like how much I've changed throughout.
Wow.
I just feel so much calmer and present.
That's
Thank
very
you.
inspiring, honestly.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm so glad to hear that you got into meditation. And I think, I mean, I like, everyone's story is so unique, because I was the same. Like, I was like, those fucking hippies, like, I'll never, like, I was like, that's so weird. I can never calm my mind down.
Yeah.
And now that's why I think I can think clearly because of it.
Because you're actually, like, doing that practice for yourself.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's very inspiring. I definitely want to try doing that.
Well, you are doing
more
it
often and actually incorporate it, because it's, for me, it's like, oh, like, my mind's racing, I'll meditate like once a week, or you know, oh, I'm going in the steam room, I'll throw meditation on, and I every time I do it, I feel so good. Yeah. Like, okay, I need to do this more often.
Yeah. Well, if you try the morning meditations, let me know how they work for you.
I would love to.
It just, like, it allows you to start your day on the right foot. Yeah. Because I'm someone who, like, as soon as I wake up, my brain's going. I'm like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
What's on my calendar? Who do I need to meet with?
Yes. Like, what's happening? What are we doing? Have you ever done, I forget what the book is called, but when you set your affirmations in the morning, like, what do I want?
Oh, like the 5-minute journal?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you do that as well, or have you ever done that before?
So I did the 5-minute journal, and we're actually coming out with something fun. I'll, like, tell you off camera for like I Love You Always. For me personally, I have my own journal system. I like to do my magic gifts, is what I call them. Like, I don't think enough time. I don't think we pour into ourselves enough as we do into others. So I like to spend like a couple minutes, and I'll just write like, hey, thanks so much for showing up for me, like, to myself, and I'll journal like, I love that, you know, you were so kind to yourself yesterday. I love that you spent extra time working out.
That's
like,
amazing.
and pouring that in. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
And then I do like some journaling. I'll just dump. Like, I'll do a brain dump. So I'll meditate, and then I'll go into journaling completely. And I'll just do my magic gifts. Wow. And then whatever I'm manifesting, if I want to say like, hey, like right now I have my New York event coming up soon. And so I'm like nonstop. It's just been like journaling about that, like getting into tune with like setting my mind as if I'm there now.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And dumping. So,
wow, I love that. Have you ever, I'm asking you so many questions, but
no,
have you ever done a moon water manifestation before?
No, can you tell me what that is?
Okay.
Because so many people like post about it on their
Yes,
Instagram, and I have no idea what it is.
So I did my first ever. I've never really
Wow.
done much manifestation
Okay.
before, but one of my friends actually sent me a TikTok. She's like, "You got to try this out. Like, try this manifestation. There's going to be a full moon." So I tried it and it worked.
What
it
was
the
it?
craziest thing ever. So I think it was 2 weeks ago. There was a really big full moon. I was at my cottage with my family and my aunt, my cousins, and I was like, let's all make moon water together.
You guys all did it
Yes,
together?
Yes. So we
Oh, I
all got these
love
little
that.
jars. We put water in it. We went outside to a cornfield near my cottage, and we all put these jars up against the moon like this.
Okay.
And
Wait,
then-
against, like, you were just holding it in front of the moon?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Against the moon. Holding it in front of the moon.
No, I knew what you were saying. I knew what you were saying. You're so
And then
good.
we were all whispering our intentions to our water. Like, whispering it and not telling anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like saying all what I wanted to come true in my life, what I
Yeah.
wanted for the next year, these goals, so be it.
Uh-huh.
And then you shut your jar, and then you put the jar in a garden or outside, anywhere where the moon's light is shining. And then the next morning you drink it, and it's supposed to all come true. And everything so far that I manifested happened for me.
Wow.
Yes.
No
and it was
way.
incredible. So it's only you can only do it when there's a full moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
So
cool.
highly recommend trying it. And now I'm like I want to know all this stuff about manifestation and
Gosh.
all these things because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this stuff actually works. And like intention setting and it makes you feel better.
Yeah, no, it so does. Wow, that is so cool. Can I ask you one thing that you manifested that came true? Are you? Do you want to say?
I can
Okay.
say one thing, yeah.
Okay.
So I was really stressed about like what my next path was. Like, was I
Yeah.
going to stay in New York, Toronto, or go back to New York, stay in Toronto, or come back to Florida? Because a part of me wanted to come back to the U.S. or maybe even consider going to L.A. It's always been like a little
Yeah.
dream of mine in the back
Yeah,
burner.
same.
So I
love
kind of
that.
said that to my water. Like, I hope whatever is supposed to come or whatever I'm supposed to do will come to me.
Uh-huh.
And I got a really good job offer in Toronto, and it kind of just
Congratulations.
fell in my lap. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
And it's at this job. I'm gonna be a clinician and do what I want to do and treat
Wow.
patients, but they're also allowing me to do social media, podcasting, and the more creative stuff for them as well. So everything kind of came
Wow.
together, and I was like, okay, this is a sign. Like this moon water happened,
Yeah.
and now this just kind of came, and now here's my path, and I'm doing everything I want to do. So
Wow.
that's one of the things.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I
That's
appreciate
so
it.
huge.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank
yeah.
you.
No, absolutely. Wow, I'm excited to watch you grow in this new
Thank
journey of
you.
yours.
Oh.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm such a firm believer in like manifestation. Like what you do comes back to you. What you say,
100%.
the way your energy feels, all reflects and like kind of moves in like a circle. And I was never like that until
Yeah.
like a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, until like I started like my
Yeah.
self-love journey.
Wow. And I
Yeah.
feel like also what you put out, it's like whatever you say, it's actually like that's what can happen. I don't know
Yeah.
if I said that properly, but you know if you
No,
say
you said
like,
that so spot on.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like okay, like you want to have a good day. Let's have a good day. Like good morning. Let's have fun today. Like you
Yeah.
will. If you manifest it, it will happen. I'm such a firm believer of it.
Yeah, me too. Like speak it into existence and it'll all come back into fruition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this episode has been so much fun. Emily, thank
So
you
much fun.
so much for coming on. I've loved this so dearly. Before we head out, do you want to plug your socials and where everyone can find you?
Absolutely. You guys can follow me at Emilie, Emilie, Vos, VOS _ on Instagram, and it's the same on TikTok as well. And if you want to follow Miss 305,
Yes,
which
yes,
is how we
yes.
met, it's at ShopMiss305, and that's our Instagram, and it's the same on TikTok as well. And I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode as well. And thanks, Emilia, for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for
being
coming
here,
on.
and hearing more about you and meeting you today.
You're so incredible, and thank you guys so much for listening. And excited, you guys are gonna love this episode. It's been so much fun, and I forgot that we were recording halfway
I
through it.
honestly forgot too. I thought we were just hanging out.
I love this. Well, thank you guys always, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, that was so great. Oh
Dude,
my
I'm so
goodness.
excited. That was